lot of joy headed to Chicago this week. Free abortions, free vasectomies. They're boarding up the area of Chicago outside the United Center. The riot police are ready. Giant inflatable IUDs. Yeah, there's a lot of joy. Nothing but hope, joy, change, optimism. Kamala's going to fix everything. My gosh. When I first heard the news about the free vasectomies and the free abortions, I said, that can't be. They're not that bad. They're not that crazy. They're not that sick and evil. I mean, I was in Milwaukee and we watched the RNC elevate Gold Star families and supported wounded warriors and cops. And, I didn't see any boarded up buildings or businesses around the big convention center where we were in Milwaukee. I didn't see any riot police. I didn't see any, there were some protesters, but it wasn't like Chicago. Here's a report from local affiliate in Chicago, WGN, on what they're having to do to brace for what they suspect will be the inevitable violence at the Democrat National Convention this week.
We are on Washington and Wabash outside of a Garland building, which houses a number of businesses, including stores and some restaurants and offices. Now, as you can see behind me, you'll notice that the front of the Garland building is covered in plywood. It's basically covering the windows and the door, and that's to be able to protect the building, and I should say the entrance of the building, from any potential unrest that could happen ahead of the, once the DNC does come around here, since we are anticipating some protests to take place. Now, the Chicago Board of Services says their crews have been busy the last few days boarding up businesses to get ahead of potential damages. Now, so far, they've secured 12 locations around the West Loop, downtown and Daly Plaza area, with plans to board up additional businesses this weekend as a preventative measure if protests related to the DNC erupt violently.
So, in Milwaukee, the local economy was boosted by many, many millions of dollars. I guess in Chicago, they're going to have to pay a heavy price because you can't conduct business if all the businesses are boarded up. And here over at the New York Times, headline, abortion rights advocates hit the DNC. When the delegates are, in Chicago, they'll engage in the typical pageantry and traditions. They'll vote for their nominee. They'll pose for photos. They will also have the option of getting a free vasectomy or a medication abortion just blocks away. You see, a mobile health center run by Planned Parenthood is going to park itself near the convention center and offer those services for free to anyone who makes an appointment, delegate or not. You want a free abortion? There's your place, the DNC. Now, a serious question here. Americans are being asked to make a choice on November the 5th. You're going to decide what you believe in. Again, compare what they're going through this week in the DNC, at the DNC, with the RNC. Lee Greenwood, God bless the USA, patriotism, flags, duty, honor, love of country. The DNC, free abortions, free vasectomies, and let's board up the city and erect giant barricades and walls because of all the violent protesters. What side are you on? I'm serious. What side do you choose? If you're a Democrat, aren't you embarrassed by this? Do you have any shame at all? Do you have any reluctance to say, yeah, I'm a proud Democrat? I remember when Bill Clinton used to talk about abortions as being, they should be safe, they should be legal, and they should be rare. There's nothing rare about an abortion van outside the United Center in Chicago where you can get a free one just for going out and supporting the Democrats. Free vasectomies for all. giant inflatable IUDs. You know, I've got this belief that the left always goes too far. They always overdo it. But I'm serious here. I want to start this hour by asking you a legitimate question. Would normal people say, yep, that's my team? This is like a sporting event. You know, Trump's our quarterback. I guess Kamala is theirs, even though she was roundly condemned by the Washington Post, by CNN, by the New York Times over her ridiculous price controls policy announcement the other day over the economy. The New York Times, it's full of gimmickry and stunts. There's nothing substantive here. There's nothing real. She's not going to change the economy with price controls. The government mandating what groceries can charge? Good luck with that. That should be a great plan. And the Washington Post editorial board condemned her announcement, which is, to me, very revealing. So, you know, but just forget policy. This is like, look at it as like a football game. Maybe you love the Clemson Tigers and somebody else likes Georgia. Do you boast of being on the team of boarding up the city that's hosting the convention? Are you honored that free vasectomies and free abortions are going to be part of the landscape in Chicago this week at the DNC? I'm dead serious. How could any self-respecting American say, yep, that's my team? This would be a good day to talk to a Democrat. I mean, would a Democrat say, yeah, that's my team? We're celebrating death, abortion, vasectomies. The city's all boarded up. And look, I'm hoping for the sake of the good people of Chicago that there isn't horrific violence in the streets. I'm hoping that businesses don't get burned to the ground. These are violent people. These are awful, awful people. And I get it. I get that the left loves to point to January 6th as the Pearl Harbor meets, 9/11 meets the Titanic meets the, Lusitania. I get it. I didn't see any boarded up buildings in Milwaukee. I didn't see any riot police in Milwaukee, and I sure didn't see any abortion vans or free vasectomy vans. I'm reading these stories. Headline, New York Post, free abortions and vasectomies and an 18-foot tall inflatable IUD called Frida Womb. Freeda. They've named the IUD. Her name is Frida. I gotta believe that's a play on freedom, right? Frida Womb. According to the New York Times, there's a group called Americans for Contraception. They're erecting an 18-foot tall inflatable intrauterine device named the Frida Womb. My gosh. Andrews in Montana, where if I lived in Chicago, I like to flee to Montana and look at the mountains and the beauty of the great state of Montana. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Mike.
You bet.
Don't give our secrets away up here about how nice Montana is.
I hear you. Listen, I know somebody who lives there, and I am dying to go visit. I fell in love with Montana thanks to that TV series Yellowstone. And I'm so jealous of everybody who lives there because you are definitely in God's country there, Andrew.
We are.
Well, tell me your take on what's going on in Chicago this week.
It makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. It's not a mobile health center. It's a mobile death center. And for any Republicans out there, that are waffling and maybe they don't like Trump that much, this election is about restraining evil. And if you ever wondered about that, what's going on with the DNC just makes it so abundantly clear what they're about. They revel in it. And
there is so much more at stake than even just the border and the economy. And the border and the economy, it could be argued, is everything. But when you see what they're doing this week in Chicago, I can't disagree with you. It's hard to say that. It's hard to say you're wrong. This is good versus evil. I mean, free abortions for delegates.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
I can't either. When I heard it, I said, Andrew. When I heard it, I said it isn't. It can't be true. They can't be that evil. They can't be this ghastly. And they are. They are. God bless you, Andrew, and enjoy. I'll try to keep everything. I'll try to keep it a secret about how beautiful Montana is. Here is Tammy Bruce on Fox News yesterday, over the weekend. I think this might have been from Saturday, but this is a very common sense response. And my invitation stands. If you're a Democrat, you call me and tell me how proud you are of free vasectomies and abortions at your convention this week. Frida Womb. My gosh. Somebody from California just said, Mike, it's really free da womb. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the play on words. Here's Tammy Bruce describing what America has to grapple with in recognizing that at this year's Democrat National Convention, in addition to all the anticipated violence and riots and boarding up the city, they're offering free abortions and free vasectomies.
Tim Young said this. J.D. Vance is weird. Also, it's totally normal for there to be a mobile abortion and vasectomy van that shows up outside of the DNC for totally normal people to get abortions and vasectomies like they're going to a taco truck.
Yeah. It's look, I think I probably have more pro-choice friends than others on the panel here. People know my background with the National Organization for Women. Classical liberals and the majority of Democrats embraced safe, legal, and rare.
Yes.
This is ghoulish. Yes. It is not what anyone wanted. And I think part of the argument, they talk about joy for the future and optimism. Deciding you're not going to have children, or you're going to have a vasectomy, and you're going to have abortions, and you want one right now. That is a statement that you have no hope in the future.
Yeah, they're making a statement, all right. I just wonder if the American people are paying attention to it. Oh, they're delivering a message, and we're going to get it. This is going to be a rough week. I'm telling you, this is Monday. We got to hang in here. We got to be in this together. Poll after poll after poll shows Trump even with or ahead of Kamala Harris. Every single anecdotal poll. Have you ever seen some of these polls on social media? The Krasenstein brothers, they keep putting up polls. Who are you going to vote for? It's Trump, 70, 80, 90%. Don Lemon goes to Atlantic City over the weekend. Who are you going to vote for? Trump, 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 Trump. I don't believe the polls as they exist now. It's not close. There's no way this country is going to give this woman the keys to the Oval Office. It isn't going to happen. Fred's in Philadelphia. How you doing, Fred?
Yeah, I think anybody thinking foolish enough to vote Democrat, they should be reminded when they see all these agitators and thugs, I don't care what Kamala says to get elected. If she gets in, these are the people that she's going to be answering to, because they're frankly, they got in bed with these people, and now they sort of own them.
That's right. They got to own this.
This is what you're voting for.
This is who you're going to elect. And incidentally, this whole thing about joy. You want to hear what a joyful Kamala Harris sounds like? I want to play a clip from this woman. This is a clip from September 9th, 2019. This was when she was a U.S. Senator. She was at a Democrat dinner in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
I learned, I think I was, 22 when I started that work. I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. And because of the swipe of my pen, that person could be arrested. They could sit in jail for at least 48 hours. They could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community. All because of the swipe of my pen. Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed. So I learned at a very young age the power.
Yep, that's the power she craves. That's the candidate of joy. That's the lady the Democrats want you to accept as the future of America. Bragging about ruining people's lives with a swipe of the pen. It's not going to happen. American people aren't going to allow this. 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453.
Mike Gallagher.
Here's a text message from Texas. Mike, you know what else was sick about the mobile abortion offer? You get a free hot dog. This gives more. And look, you think I'm surprised at that? Nothing would shock me. Nothing would shock me at all. Attendees in Chicago will not only have the chance to get a free abortion or a vasectomy, they're also going to have a giant 18-foot tall inflatable IUD called Frida Womb, according to the New York Times. An 18-foot tall inflatable intrauterine device, Frida Womb. Other activists, I mean, I don't. This is like satanic stuff. And normal people, look, I feel the way I feel, you feel the way you feel, but right now we're 3 months away, less than 3 months away from a major election. This is going to be featured in Chicago outside the United Center. And I wonder what normal people have to say about this. I mean it. 800-655-MIKE. This is, I mean, can we be objective? Decent people don't do things like this. Normal, they call us weird? They call us horrible? Wow. Let's start with Gail in Rutledge, Georgia. Hey, Gail, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. How you doing?
Thanks, Mike, for taking my call.
Yes,
It's the
ma'am.
first time I've ever called any kind of program like that, and I love your program.
Thank you. I'm so honored you called us. I appreciate you joining us today.
The first thing that I want to say is that would be the last place I would want to go for any kind of treatment, whether it be an abortion or a vasectomy.
Correct.
You are correct. It is evil.
But what a good point. I want to hone in on that point you made, Gail. Can you imagine saying, I'm going to go down to the United Center because I want to vote for Kamala and I want to support the Democrats and I don't want Trump to win. And oh, by the way, I'm so excited because there's going to be a van parked outside the arena where I can get a free abortion or a free vasectomy. What does that say about the person who would, and Gail, there's a waiting list. They're already booked up.
I can't imagine. And number two, it is not free. We, the taxpayers, will be paying for that.
No question about it. On some level, we were, and it's just like we pay for the so-called free student loan bailout. I read today that Biden wants to go out with a bang. He wants to make sure his final 5 months in office are very eventful. He wants to give more free, quote unquote, student loan forgiveness. That's not free. You and I are paying for that.
We have, but my understanding is that the Supreme Court knocked that down and told him he was out of order.
Correct. They did, and he's doing an end around, and he's using executive orders, and he's trying to figure out a way to beat the Supreme Court. He brags about this, beating the Supreme Court and doing it anyway, defying the Supreme Court and trying to run out the clock. Now, eventually the courts are going to say enough is enough. You can't keep doing this, but he doesn't care. He wants to go, He wants to get votes for the Democrat Party for the woman who ousted him. And Gail, and thank you, Gail, so much for calling and for your kind words. Tonight is going to be fascinating. In a normal world, the media would be just mocking the idea of this man who's been pushed aside, kicked to the curb by Kamala and Nancy Pelosi and Axelrod and all the big Democrat poobahs who said he just isn't going to beat Trump. And they would mock the appearance of Joe Biden tonight. Instead, it's going to be a love fest. Oh, there'll be I think it was Amy Klobuchar said, there'll be tears of joy. Tears of joy? What are you, joy that you got rid of the guy that you thought was a political liability and you replaced him with Kamala and Tim Walz? Wow. Meanwhile, there's some breaking news. I want to share this with you.
Breaking now on the Mike Gallagher Show.
It's a guy from my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, who kind of put talk shows on the map, Phil Donahue, who pioneered his talk show in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, and went on, of course, to become a talk show legend. Phil Donahue passed away last night following a long illness. He was 88 years old. Lefty, for sure. I was on his show actually a couple of times. Always treated me with respect and with kindness. I was always kind of fond of the fact that he was from the same town that I was from. But again, Phil Donahue has passed away at the age of 88. Melissa is in Fayetteville, Tennessee. So what do you think, Melissa? Free abortions and free vasectomies at the DNC this week.
Oh, my goodness gracious sakes alive. What in the world is going on?
God help us. God help America, Melissa. God help us.
God help us.
All right.
I have never in my life and never thought in my life I would ever hear anything like that. I don't understand why this and everything else that is going on with this group of people is not told on every local station in the United States so everybody can hear it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Well, but that's the game right now. It's called gaslighting. It's pretending that they're something that they are not. It's pretending that Kamala is actually interested in a secure border when she is not. It's about Kamala pretending to suddenly be competent when she is not. And you know the terrible thing? I hate to go down the rumor mongering lane. There's lots of rumors about people, anybody in public life. I saw something over the weekend that said that the rumor is that Kamala has a serious drinking problem. Now, I don't know that there's any validity to that. There probably isn't. But after you hear that claim and then you see her and you hear her, it's hard to get it out of your mind. Kristen, will you play the ordering of the turkey? She's either ordering a turkey sandwich or she's telling somebody how to make a turkey. Maybe it's right. What's that, Eric? She's making a turkey. She's describing how to make a turkey. Now, with this, again, I'm sorry, it's an unsubstantiated rumor, but they say she has an alcohol problem. Try to get that image out of your mind after you see this clip.
It's getting a fresh turkey?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's being delivered
And
tomorrow.
so just little, 1 minute out. I have one minute.
Yeah.
Kosher salt, fresh ground pepper, maybe chop up a little thyme. And then you can mix it even with, okay, so do the salt and pepper all over it, just lather that baby up, right? With on the outside in the cavity. You could also chop up, but not with the thyme, just the salt and pepper. Mix that up also with some thyme. You could even do a little rosemary if you want. Under the skin with some butter before you're going to cook it. So that butter will just melt in there. And then get a nice big bottle of cheap white wine to baste with butter. Yes, hi.
Okay.
Yes.
She leans over to the camera because they're getting ready to go on the air live. Yes, hi. Hi, hello. Don't forget the cheap bottle of white wine.